Okay, welcome everyone who's visiting this Washington Racquetball Association annual members meeting. The meeting was called to order at 6:41, and we are just now ready to begin the agenda, which was shared with those that were in attendance at that time. We will announce each of the sections of the agenda as we proceed. This is David Staub, the president of the Washington Racquetball Association, speaking at the moment. Also in attendance are Jeff Walker, Director of Tournament Oversight, Isaiah Cervantes, Board Secretary, Phil Nelson, Board Treasurer, and Micah Miller, Director of Media. Bill Napier was originally in attendance, but was excused for other obligations, and will catch up after the fact. Again, thank you all for taking the time to listen to this meeting. We have no members other than board members currently present. As they are joining the meeting, we will welcome them and let them know that the meeting is being recorded for the remainder of the group that wants to listen later. So again, welcome to the annual meeting. Thank you for taking the time. We have a full agenda, and for that, I don't want to take up too much front end time. I'm going to ask Isaiah, our board secretary, to run through the agenda for those that are about to listen. Do it very, very quickly, high level, and then we'll fill in from there. Isaiah, please reread out the key points of the agenda, and we'll go from there.
Perfect. Thanks, Dave. So we will start with our call to order. We will go over our annual reports, which is a year in review by the president, the financial report from the treasurer, the committee director reports, fundraising and junior development. We will go through then the elections process, voting, announcement of results, board certification, as well as future elections processes. Then we will go through upcoming season planning, our tournament calendar. After that, we will have an open forum member Q&A. Then we will have action items along with closing remarks and a recap of key decisions.
Thank you, Isaiah. The first report on the list is which one, sir?
The year in review, key achievements from the president.
Okay, so let me take a moment to highlight the things that occurred in the past year. We had at least 4 and possibly 5, and my math is a little bit off, sanctioned tournaments. I want to focus the audience on the stellar state event that is provided by the board that was held at the WAC the last week of January. We had the largest attendance in many, many years, with 92 players from 6 states and 3 countries. We were hosted by the Washington Athletic Club. We were able to raise funds to open up the stadium court, which was heavily used, and we had the benefit of a professional photographer who took thousands of photos. Micah might know how many. He'll mention that when he does the media report. His name is Ken Fife. He's nationally known. He was a big plus for the overall event. We had great competition. Former and current professional players did play in our amateur event, with a women's pro player winning the men's open division in an exciting final. And I believe that everyone had a good time, especially with the stadium court and viewing area. There was a lot of enthusiasm for the matches, a lot of cheering, good competition, great results. And we look forward to doing something, if not similar, even better in the coming year. We'll talk about our plans for the tournament calendar coming up. We could not have done that without significant support, both in-kind contributions from key partners like Steve Wynn and his enterprise that helped move equipment out of the stadium court without Diego Garza, who did a lot of the heavy lifting and disassembly of equipment without supervision and facilitation by Micah to make sure that everything went smoothly with the club. It was a team effort, and it again produced great outcomes, and the club was very happy with the work that we did and how it all turned out. So we're proud of what we did, and we look forward to doing more. Another key thing that I'll mention slightly later is that we had a junior participating in our state tournament for the first time in a long time. We also, switching away from the state event, we were able to return to the Kent Commons, which is recently renovated, and use that recently renovated facility on a tournament run by ENV. We used the Harbor Square facility for an event, and an unsanctioned event was held to raise money for kids, all representing the great community of racquetball players statewide. We had players from all over the state participating in events, and we look forward to continuing to serve that. I don't want to steal the thunder of my fellow board members. I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the fact that during the year, Jeff Walker and Isaiah Cervantes joined the board and have served admirably in the past year to bolster the ability of the board to provide good experience for everybody and to spread the load that was shared by a few. So thank you to each of them. And thank you to Phil for keeping the books, and to Micah for his amazing job in the media space. His creativity and his dedication to effective communication is, I would argue, among the best of any state association in racquetball. Couldn't do it without him. So each of you played a great role, and for those of you listening later, I hope when you see them in passing around the courts that you thank them for their dedication and their volunteering to this organization. And it's been an honor to serve now for 6 years, and I look forward to the possibility of continuing to be involved in racquetball in the state of Washington going forward. So that's my report in review. If there are questions of things that I did not cover when we get to the open forum at the end of the meeting, I'll gladly field any questions from anybody about other things that occurred that I may have overlooked in my summary. Thank you. I believe that Phil might be next with the treasurer's report for the record. It's important that we share openly with the members the current financial position, the stability in our bank accounts. I believe he's prepared to report everything as of July 31st, and our cash balances and the status of any bills that might be due, and how much we took in, how much we spent, and how much we were able to retain for the past fiscal year. Phil, please provide your report. I I have it, but I don't have it on this screen. I'm using a different device. Since there's no one else in the meeting at the moment, but do you need it for you to do your report? Is that what you need? If you identify what you want me to describe for the record, I have it up on my other computer, and I can read it into the record if that would help you. Well, the minutes will reflect what you report, but I don't know that we want to necessarily put it into the, we'll have to talk about what the protocol is for making the whole thing visible. There's nothing to hide per se, but I'm just not accustomed to sharing it out for everybody. Uh, Not to say that we couldn't, but I don't want to assume. Yeah, we do. Yeah. Is she a future board member? That's awesome. All right. Please, please share your report at your convenience. I, I, Phil, tell me if this sounds right. I show $12,371.31. Do you have cash balances? Did you want to comment on subsequent board action after the report period regarding additional approved disbursements, or is this not the right time to talk about that? Okay, we don't have any other members, but there was a discussion that was ongoing relative to junior support. And is that expected to be part of the 2026 budget year? Is that what the thinking is?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, then I'll hold that off for later.
And that
Uh,
was voted on in a prior meeting, but I don't think Phil was available for that meeting.
Okay. That would be a work in process as we identify what the likely scenario is for state events, which is still pending. So it's hard to develop a budget without guidance. Uh, so, but for general principle, the goal of the board is always to have a positive cash balance for the year and not. But we do have years such as the COVID years where we weren't able to take in hardly any income, and we had to make necessary disbursements. So we need to always have a reserve. So Phil, thank you for being the custodian of the assets of the board and your dutiful execution of your job. Appreciate it very much. Again, if there are questions on Phil's report, we'll field those during the open session if anybody is in attendance. What's the next report, Isaiah?
It's elections.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Nope, that's incorrect. The just
the director's reports.
correct.
Okay. So if my notes are correct, the first one up is that of the fundraising director. For those that are listening later, the director of fundraising position is currently vacant, and so by our bylaws, the responsibilities for any vacant director positions falls to the president, making me the acting director of fundraising. So I will provide a brief report about what transpired in the past year for the record. We solicited potential candidates for the director of fundraising throughout the year in conversations with members. No one was willing to run for that position, so there was no one to offer on the slate for elections, which will be covered later in the meeting. What we did do as a full board is we modified our fundraising agreement. We changed the price points for the various levels to make them more appealing to potential donors. We changed the benefit structure of what they receive at various levels to, again, further entice them to make contributions. It was very successful this year. As Phil reported, there were 2,750 of cash contributions from businesses and key contributors. There were additional $150 worth of $404 of additional donations that came in different forms that were directed to the WRA for its unrestricted use. So north of $3,000. And I would be remiss if I didn't remind everyone that we received nearly $3,000 of in-kind contributions, meaning ones that people provided services that they would normally charge for, but they waived their fees to help us set up the stadium court. If we had been charged full price by those professionals who were carrying the responsibility, it would have been another $3,000 of expenses. And since we were not charged by them, they represent in-kind donations to us. So that doesn't flow through the books, but we couldn't do it without those generous in-kind donations as well. That also includes Head Penn, who provided balls throughout the year with no charge. We've been under a ball contract with Head Penn, and we couldn't run the tournaments as efficiently and as cost effective without the gracious contributions of Head Penn. Everyone knows Fran Davis is the local representative and the national representative. We're very blessed to have her in our state and a vital contributor to the tournaments that we run, and we treat that as a sponsorship, as an in-kind, non-cash contribution. So again, thank you to all our generous sponsors. I'm sure I left a few people out. That doesn't mean that they're not important. I believe Ethan Jansen made a contribution, so I want to call that out. There were others. Yen V, I believe, donated her proceeds. So many gracious people wanting to see the board succeed and this community to continue to function. That's the other thing about fundraising is, Phil mentioned that we have a savings account. It's helpful for us to all be reminded that over the years, many people donated to the WRA with intent to keep it sustained and with a special emphasis on junior activity. Over the years, auctions and fundraising events were held at various tournaments, particularly the Northwest Open. Those proceeds from those sales were donated to the WRA and have been held in the bank accounts with the express purpose of supporting junior racquetball. The board keeps that intent in mind, and the director of fundraising is indirectly overseeing that with the help of the treasurer. So again, that's the fundraising report. Any questions on that will come up in the open forum. Next. I believe next is junior development. Once again, that position is vacant. I'm the acting director. Pleased to report that we were able to embrace the participation of a junior in our state championships. He entered a singles event and a doubles event. He was unopposed, so we granted him a first place award and made quite the spectacle. Pictures were taken and posted on Facebook through the help of our photographer and through our media director. We are thrilled that we have a junior that has emerged to participate in our events and look forward to seeing him going forward. I do believe he had a good experience. He also medaled in the doubles division. Just as a matter of course, the director of junior development always is available to support any local programming where junior instruction is possible. We try to maintain a pulse of what's going on. To our knowledge, the only place that is running a formal junior program is in Bellingham at the Bellingham Athletic Club under Wanda Collins's direction, which she's been doing for so many years. I'm not sure anybody knows except for her, probably close to 40 years doing junior work in Bellingham, of which many in the room have participated in or witnessed and seen many championship caliber players come through that, including a current touring women's pro player. So pretty fabulous program that she runs, and we continue to support her and any of her players that would come forward. If there are other locations, and again, anybody that's listening to this that knows of some other junior development work that's going on and wants some level of support, feel free to reach out to me as your acting director of junior development. And in keeping with the donations that were alluded to earlier and mentioned in the treasurer's report as part of our balances, we are keeping our eye out for ways to support junior programming locally and if necessary regionally or nationally in the spirit of the original donations. So there are needs for junior development that we hope to be able to support as was intended by the donors. More to come on that in the fiscal year 2025 as the board convenes actions for the coming year. If there are questions on junior programming that come up, they will be handled in the open discussion. I'll pause there and ask Jeff, who is hosting the meeting, if there are any people in the waiting room at this point.
There are not.
Okay, so we'll continue. I believe next up is Micah, who will provide a summary of all the great work that he's done in the media space. So Micah, take it away.
Steve, we worked on building an Instagram page, which we started posting on along with Facebook. The Walkers and Racquetball website has been updated. Calendar is updated for the upcoming season. We also have contact info there for our users, our board members. And that's about it for media.
I think you're being pretty humble with the order of magnitude of the frequency of the posting that you're doing. So I just ask everybody that listens to this later to reach out to Micah directly when you see him and thank him for the great work. We can't communicate with the body without the work that he does and the tools he provides, including the access to this recording that you are listening to right now. Thank you, Micah. At this point, we would normally have a report from our Director of Outreach, Bill Napier. As mentioned at the beginning, Bill was in attendance but had a conflict, and so we excused him. Typically, the Director of Outreach has the role of staying in contact with potential new members, potential sponsors, directing them to the right location. But kind of the signature activity of the Director of Outreach is the annual picnic, which we held in July at Fenwick Park at the outdoor courts. We had great turnout, and I'd like to just have each of the board members that were in attendance were able to be there to offer a quick comment on their experiences or the other members' experiences at the picnic. Jeff, as the chef, would you care to share what your experience was and what you saw?
I saw mostly just racquetball players enjoying outdoor racquetball. Um, I think they all enjoyed the picnic aspect of it. It was good to see everybody together. I think we had between somewhere in the 30s, 35-ish folks show up, so it was a good turnout, good weather. Yeah, successful picnic.
Micah, any observations from your side?
It seemed like a good event. Better weather than last year. That's it.
Yeah. Isaiah, how about from your perspective?
This was my first picnic, so expectations, I didn't know really what to expect, but it was fantastic. Everybody that was there really supportive. It was great seeing racquetball players that I haven't seen in some time. People traveled and met a few new faces. Brought my daughter. She got to play some racquetball. The location is great. There's a park nearby. It's very family friendly. Overall, really positive experience.
Yeah. So the board incurs expenses, and I believe some of the food items were donated. But it's an event for the membership. It doesn't cost anything to participate. We'll have it on next year's calendar when a date is selected. We typically do it on a Sunday so that we can stay in the good graces with the handball players that also use that facility actively. Through Bill's work, we've developed a good relationship with the handball community, the outdoor handball community that uses that property. The other thing that Bill has on his goal list, which he continues to try to cultivate, is more outdoor activity, working with other locations around the state, particularly Centralia, which has as many as 6 courts, I believe. And there's an active community down there that we don't overlook their importance to overall racquetball. About 5 years ago, the World Outdoor Racquetball Association became enfolded with the United States Racquetball Association, which has historically been indoor play. So we are a united group. We function together. Memberships are collateral. Memberships, they have reciprocity. And Bill's goal is to continue to unfold them through continued outreach and working with them to put together events that would be meaningful to outdoor play. So I know he's not in attendance. He probably will listen to this later. So huge kudos to Bill for being a board member, an advisor, and a committed participant in keeping this organization successful. I believe next up is Jeff Walker, who's our Director of Tournament Oversight. So Jeff, if you have a report, please share at this time.
Okay, yeah, I was just gonna go over the tournaments that we have on the calendar. I believe for the rest of this calendar year, there's 4 in-state tournaments and 1 in Oregon. So in order, next one up is the Courts Are Calling at Kent Commons. That's the NV's event on October 11th. Next, we have the MLT Shootout. It's a non-sanctioned event Donna Jeffries puts on November 1st in Montlake Terrace Rec Center. Then we have a Harbor Square Singles Shootout on November 15th. Dave Staub is heading up. And then that Oregon tournament, the John Pelham Memorial. I don't have a date here on the calendar. Micah, might you have a update on that?
Typically the first week of December, if I'm not mistaken. Also, Jeff, don't forget to mention that there's actually a tournament that's coming Saturday.
So as I believe I saw that was canceled. Micah,
Well,
do you want to speak up to that?
My event is canceled due to low tonight.
I wasn't aware of that. My mistake.
Yeah, unfortunately, the Worldwide Racquetball Day tournament that Micah and Magella had planned was canceled due to low participant turnout and also some changes with the WAC and some of the charges that they're forced to pass on to tournaments. So anyway, yeah, that one unfortunately got canceled. So
John
moving on to
is February 21st, 22nd.
can you repeat that, Micah?
February 20th to 22nd in February.
Micah, your mic is really garbled. It's hard to hear what you're saying. I'm not sure how to help make it more clear. Are you trying to report the John Pelham tournament dates, or are you talking about
Yes.
in the? So when does it fall?
February
I'm sorry. Yeah, Micah, you're still broken up. I've got February 19th through the 22nd for the John Pelham in
Okay.
Portland. So yeah, that just needs to be updated on our calendar. It's not going to be a December tournament.
Okay, that was my mistake as well. I should just leave it to the experts. So if there are potential future tournament directors listening to this at a later time that want to put an event on the calendar, feel free to reach out to Jeff. If you don't know how to get to him and you know other board members will gladly pass along contact information to work with you to further develop the calendar. We seek to offer events statewide so that players don't have to travel huge distances to just 1 or 2 locations. We'd like to mix it up. But we are dependent on the availability of clubs that are willing to host events. And as many of you that are active players know, that courts are shrinking in availability statewide, particularly those that have access to or permit access to sanctioned events. Because we could talk about LA Fitness on a different meeting if there's interest, but they don't even allow sanctioned events to occur. So despite the number of courts they have, they're not really a resource. We're limited to less than 10 courts, clubs statewide that can even potentially host events. So we tend to use those that are very friendly and close to large population centers until someone steps up from Vancouver or Bellingham or Spokane, Wenatchee, where other venues do have available courts. We just need to work with them. So if you're listening later, reach out to Jeff. He's our contact person for tournament oversight, and he'll work with you to get everything set up for sanctioning.
Thanks, Dave. And there is one more tournament on the calendar for this year. December 13th is the 15th annual Play for the Kids, the fundraiser, the doubles event that Billy Sarno and Yen V are heading up. And that's going to be at LA Fitness. It's undecided at this point whether that's going to be in Federal Way or Puyallup.
Yeah, that's a great event. Santa finds his way. It's a great cause, fun participation, good competition. Spirit is right. Encourage anybody that has that week, that particular day available to consider playing. It's worth it. It's a lot of fun. All right. Anything else, Jeff, that you want to share?
No, there's a few items on the calendar for 2026, but most of those dates are to be determined at this point. So
Yep.
we'll update the calendar as those dates get filled in.
Yeah. Perhaps it'd be worth, just for general information without specificity, that we realize that the dates and locations for our state event or events have not yet been determined. As was mentioned, there's new obstacles with the WAC in terms of the costs associated with running events there. We are hoping to bring back, and this is not a for sure thing, but we are hoping to bring back the former Pro Club, which is now under new ownership, with an organization out of the Bay Area called the Bay Club, that is famous for hosting national events. So it's our thinking that they're tournament friendly. I've been given an introductory pathway. I just haven't been able to coordinate my schedule with their schedule to have a meeting to open the door for the possibility of returning to the Pro Club, which is arguably one of the finest clubs west of the Mississippi. And it would be great for us to bring that forward, but we can't say that that we have a date or a time or an agreement in any way until that meeting happens. But that is one of our goals for the coming year for this board to restore that agreement. We're also trying to see if there's an appetite at the, I think it used to be called the Club Green Meadows in Vancouver, Washington. I'm not sure if they're under a new name. Mike has been cultivating that relationship. And we're trying to see if the courts are suitable and if there's a possibility of running an event there. That would naturally create a border war, which would be wonderful to see again, between the Oregon players and the Washington players, and kind of have a king of the hill competition between the two states. So more possibility to come on that, but there's nothing firm or cemented at this point. So stay tuned. We'll keep it continuously refreshed. All right. Is that the end of the reports, Isaiah, or is there something else that I forgot to take notes on? Are we through the reports?
Yeah, looks like everything was taken care of on the reports.
Okay. So the next agenda item, what is that again, please?
Elections.
Okay, and I think that, our secretary is by role and bylaws is responsible for the election process and has done yeoman's work first time through the process. And so I look forward to your report on the elections. And this is very important that we document this because this becomes a formal seating, the readout of the results and the formal seating of the board for the coming year. So take it away, sir.
Perfect. So in just starting off with a 4-1 vote, the board has voted to certify the elections. The candidates this year were for president. The positions this year were for president, secretary, and tournament director. We'll start with the president. Overall, we had 52 people vote. 29 of them came in for David Staub, the incumbent. 23 of them came in for Esteban Martinez. Of the 29 votes for David Staub, 8 of them came in through email, 10 of them came in through paper at the WRA picnic, and 11 of them came in through R2 voting. For Esteban, it's 23 votes, 22 of them came in through email, and 1 of them came in through the WRA picnic. For the secretary position, we had a total of 22 votes, 21 votes for Isaiah Cervantes, myself. 11 of them came in from the WRA picnic, and 10 of them came in from R2 voting. There was 1 vote for Amit Bari via email. And for tournament director, we had 21 total votes. All 21 came in for Jeff Walker. 11 of them came in from the WRA picnic, and 10 of them came in through R2 voting.
There were other vacant positions offered on the ballot for potential write-in candidates. Did we receive any nominees or write-ins for Director of Junior Development, Director of Fundraising? Were any votes submitted for those?
None.
Okay. Should there be discussion about the results of the elections? We will field them in the open session if there's anybody that joins this meeting at that time. Happy to have that conversation. Isaiah, thank you for providing the results. I think you were going to talk a little bit about future process.
Yes. So this kind of being my first time through the R2 voting, I would say that R2 voting can still be used, but it should not be the forefront of our elections process. I think that a better process would be some type of fillable form that we can validate Washington State racquetball players, compare that to membership from the WRA, and just make it a seamless, easier vote. I've heard a lot of complaints that the R2 website is confusing, it doesn't work on every browser, or it's difficult or complicated to vote for. So I think going forward, I think we can get the word out a little bit easier with a form of document via either Google Docs, or we could use some type of survey website or program to assist with that.
Take advantage of technology. All right, thank you, Isaiah. What comes up? Did you have anything else to add before we move on?
No, other than that, I think the elections process went smoothly. I think that we were transparent with all items. Looking for just really cohesive membership going forward. I think it'll be a great year.
Thank you again for taking this on. It's having been the secretary many years ago. It's a position that requires probably as much work as any other board position, and it has a lot of visibility and sensitivity to it. So thank you for your thoughtful and diligent approach to the role. It's been a real joy having you on the board, and I look
Thank you, my pleasure.
Continue to working with you. Congratulations on your re-election. I forgot to congratulate. Well, now it's appropriate to congratulate Jeff on his election after being appointed last year. So thank you, Jeff, for being willing to serve going forward. Hearing no further discussions about the election and no one else in attendance that needs clarification, let's move to the next topic. Are there more topics, or are we at the point where we're closing the meeting, sir?
We've addressed topic 4 was tournament calendar review, which we've kind of done that. Within that section, there's key partnership opportunities and sponsorship updates.
Sure. So this would be a good time to talk about the ball agreement, I guess. It's maybe not called out in the agenda, so I hope it's not a surprise to those that listen to this later. The Washington Racquetball Association has had a long and favorable partnership with Head Penn. As mentioned in my introductory comments, we are fortunate to have Fran Davis in our immediate community, and she's very enthusiastic about supporting Washington Racquetball. She goes above and beyond and makes sure that the non-sanctioned tournament for the kids has balls. She provided resources to us throughout the year. She supported the picnic with outdoor balls in years past, which we continue to use. And for each of us that have been tournament directors and the state, we have a reserve of balls that have been provided in excess of what we've needed. She's always been very generous. As your board and as tournament directors on the board, we thank Head Penn for that ball support. In the spring of this year, and I guess it's important to say, well, why did we select Head Penn? This decision was made well before my time on the board. I think it may have been renewed or validated during our longest tenured board member, Bill, who's not presently on the call. But we follow the United States Racquetball Association because whatever ball that they select for national events, we want to emulate that to the best possible, unless there's a compelling reason not to follow that guidance, so that when our players play out of area and in national events, national juniors, collegiates, national singles, national doubles, any event that's sponsored by the USAR, it's been our belief and thinking that we follow along with what the USAR provides. That said, in the spring of this year, there was a change at the USAR level, and I might mess up some of the particulars here. So the decision and documentation of this is available, I believe, on the USAR website, but I'm going to try to summarize it for those that might be listening to this later. Head Penn indicated to the USAR that they could no longer underwrite and provide balls to USA Racquetball without some cost sharing provision, which opened the door for other organizations, other entities that have balls to approach the USAR with a proposal of their own. The USAR leadership went through a process, not sure exactly what the steps were, but in the end, they chose the Gearbox and to make a Gearbox affiliation, which unified official racket, official ball under one umbrella. And that, I believe the decision was heavily influenced by the fact that the International Racquetball Federation has adopted the Gearbox Black Ball for its standard of play. And the Men's Pro Tour uses the same the Gearbox Black Ball for its events. So in keeping with that, the USAR has affiliated with Gearbox and has a cost-sharing agreement with them, whereby Gearbox provides the balls, guarantees their availability, but there is a cost associated with that. They also, for non-qualifying events and non-USAR titled player level, open championships, they adopted the Gearbox Blue Ball. which I had the pleasure of playing with at the national championships held in Pleasanton this spring. It's a fine ball. And as an assistant tournament director of that event, we had only one out of all the matches played, which were in the hundreds. We only had one blue ball that was broken and less than 10 black ones that were broken during pro play. So a pretty stable ball, and it plays very fair. It's a fair and bounce, and it's easy to see. So nationally, that's what USAR selected. We find ourselves currently with an expired ball contract with Headpen. It expired on July 31st, but we have this inventory of balls that we are going to use for upcoming tournaments, so as not to incur costs for the tournament directors. And for the state event, based on the current inventory, it's likely that we'll have enough balls to cover potential participation in the state event. We will reassess that once we know more about location and whether we're splitting the singles and doubles event into two events. More to come on that, but we anticipate that we'll have enough balls for the near term, but we will also be pursuing an agreement in keeping with the spirit of the USAR to partner with Gearbox if they're willing to offer us a fair price that would be matched or bid against by Penn, and then we'll make an informed choice. If there's a third or fourth ball out there, they're more than welcome to participate in an open proposal to provide balls for us that will entertain and identify a process. So we'll keep you apprised if there are changes, but for the time being, our standard ball will remain Headpen based on prior contributions and inventory. So again, thank you to Fran and those that are associated with that. We also, in anticipation of the state event, open the doors from the fundraising side for any partnerships that could be mutually beneficial to the Washington Racquetball Association, something that reduces our costs for events or increases our revenue in our approach, that benefits the purposes of the Washington Racquetball Association, which is to promote racquetball statewide. So we, as potential partners approach us with sponsorship opportunities, we look through the lens of thank you for the contribution, and make sure that their intents and purposes are in alignment with ours, and that we're not releasing information that's private and confidential, proprietary information to its members as a condition of a gift. It has to be pretty much without conditions. We are happy to promote them based on the fundraising agreement, put their name on entry forms on our website, their names on the shirts, all the typical things. If someone has a creative idea for a partnership with the WRA, feel free to reach out to any of the board members, including myself, as I wear multiple hats in that space. Welcome the conversation. Again, since there's no one on the call right now, and this is being recorded, if someone picks us up later and wants to reach out, please do so. That's the extent of the additional information that I think would be helpful for the membership to know. Can anybody else on the board think of something else that should be read into the record? I'll just kind of do the Brady Bunch approach. Jeff, anything that I overlooked that you can think of?
No, Dave, nothing here.
Isaiah?
No, none for me.
Phil? Micah?
Nothing for me.
All right, thank you. All right. So at this point, we would normally have an open forum, but since there are no attendees, we'll I guess have just open discussion among the board about current events, planned events, current environment, anything that any board member just wants to share about the current state of affairs or the upcoming year and read it into the record for discussion. And I'll go in the same order. Start with Jeff. Anything that you would like to add more prospectively or general in nature?
No, I think I've been thinking a lot about the Washington State tournaments for singles, doubles, combined or not, and when that might be. I think January is a good time frame for it. The where for me is still a big question mark with the changes with the WAC, and the possibilities for the former pro club, Dave. If you're able to find out a little bit more from them,
Yep.
If they might be a viable option in
Yep.
January for that tournament, that's something we could at least chat about at one of our upcoming meetings.
I'm going to call them again tomorrow. We've been ships passing in the night. He's been on vacation. I've been out of town. I'm about to head out to World Seniors in Albuquerque for a week. And then I will head to the World Singles and Doubles Championships in Denver. I believe, Micah, you're participating in that. And I won't be back until the 8th of September. So if I can't get through to them tomorrow to start the conversation, it'll have to wait until second week of September. It's not
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. I will be reaching out to the Kent Commons about that tournament in January and see what dates they have available and just get that conversation rolling. But I don't want to rule out other locations.
Yep. And we've in the past we've held the state championships in Spokane. We've held them in Bellingham. Many moons ago, we did hold them in Vancouver. I'm trying to think of other locations in the last even 15 years. Nothing's coming to my mind that's not already mentioned. But it would be good to move it around to increase the visibility of players who may not be able to travel to Seattle, so that we can increase the appeal to others in Eastern Washington or Southwest Washington, or even into Northwest Washington. We're open to any place that can host us. I think the best configuration is a minimum of 4 courts. More is better, but trying to run a statewide event with less than 4 courts is pretty tough. So if anybody's listening to this later and knows about a facility that has the capacity for us to go there, feel free to reach out to Jeff and indicate. Thanks again, Jeff. Isaiah, anything else that you'd like to add that's not already been discussed or might be more prospective in nature, things that you want to think about for the future?
Yeah, one thing that I said, we received an email from a WRA member that I said that I would bring this up tonight. They reached out. I'll kind of leave their name just anonymous at this point, but they were upset that Esteban's name was not included on the physical ballot distributed at the WRA picnic. They wanted to understand why that was, and who created and distributed the ballots. So I did respond to this person. I let them know that, hey, Esteban emailed us on the 18th of July to nominate himself for the president position. I let him know that we could not add him to the ballot because we were already 18 days into the election cycle, into the voting period, but that he could have people vote via email or write-in on the ballot at the picnic, which did happen. I let her know let this person know that there was a write-in option listed under all the candidates. And that Esteban understood this and acknowledged that he would let people know to vote for him via email, which people did.
Thank you for reading that into the record. I think it's important that we appreciate that we did respond to any and all inquiries relative to the process and try to do so in a respectful manner. So thank you, Isaiah, for reading that in and for how you handled that.
Yep. And then this information was also addressed with each member prior to the vote to certify the election as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Phil, anything above and beyond that you would like to add? You're on mute. Oh, there you go. Nothing to add? Okay. You got your hands full where you are, I imagine. So thank you for all the work that you have done and that you will continue to do to serve our members and be the custodian of our assets. Micah, anything that you would like to add? Vision for the future, things that you're planning, ideas that you're cultivating, shared with the group, what your goals are for the coming year, perhaps?
I'm working on a Club Green Meadows multi-day event in spring 2026 in Vancouver. Just working on contract negotiations with the gym to get approval, and then we'll get that added to the calendar.
That's great.
That's all for me.
Was there so that's it, that you have all the resources that you need to do your role and you feel like things are working well.
Yep.
Okay, appreciate that very much. Anything else you'd like to add?
That's it for me.
Okay. So let me offer some closing remarks. I haven't mentioned the things that I see in the future, but we have made great progress since recovering from COVID. At one point, we had fewer than 50 members, of which those 50 members, not all of them were even active. Many of them were lifetime members, no longer playing the game. As of just the other day, when I ran a membership report, we had 114 active members. And just a few, and we have a few lifetime members still in that mix, but we've essentially doubled, if not tripled, our active membership group in the last few years. Thanks to everybody for participating. And there are many people that are members that are not active tournament players. So we really appreciate their investment in keeping the game going. We are, like I said before, trying to diversify the footprint and we'll continue to try and do that. We hope to maintain a relationship with the Kitsap Athletic Club that Rocco used to offer an event at. We're trying to go back and recreate experiences from the past. One of the other things that we're considering is following the lead that California and Nevada did several years ago, where they came together as a single association. We have border partners, particularly Idaho, who don't have the benefit of a association, so they're not able to develop and promote events. But we had players from Idaho that participated in our state tournament because they didn't have one of their own. So we're going to try and open the conversation with former leaders in the state of Idaho to strengthen the partnership. And if that goes well, consider doing the same thing with Alaska, which finds itself in the same position, to create a bigger footprint, which has a bigger appeal to sponsors and enfolds more members in the region rather than just focusing on Washington only. That's a complicated process. Fortunately, I'm approaching, if I'm on the cusp of retirement, so I'll have more time to apply some of the things I've learned over the years in business on mergers and acquisitions and financials and working with legal folks to pull together agreements. So I intend to, as time permits and as I have an audience, to start planting the seed for building a relationship more formal in nature with Idaho and Alaska. Should we have something that's executable, that would require a vote of the membership to change the bylaws, to change the nature of the organization from Washington specific to some other configuration. We're nowhere near that because we haven't had those conversations, but that's a goal for the next 2 years that I hope to lead and potential recruit others to assist in that process who have similar views. There's also been talk for those of us that have been playing in the state competitively for many years. There's a call for a Hall of Fame. Many states do have a Hall of Fame, and it's a wonderful process to recognize the players that have come through our courts over the years. We don't really have such a thing, but I intend to emulate the way that Illinois does it. I have a close relationship with the leadership of the Illinois state. They have a fabulous Hall of Fame process and a great list of players. And so I'm going to try to get that process going. I'm going to recruit some of the now retired players who are out doing other things to join me in a nomination process to create a Hall of Fame to recognize the many players that have graced our courts over the years. Looking forward to that possibility as well. So that's a goal. And then, as mentioned before, to continue to honor the intention of donors to support junior play. I think it's important that we find ways to invest in juniors and reflect the intent of donors from the past. So more to come on that. And then just continue to strengthen the board by filling in the vacant positions, continuing the recruitment process for the vacant positions, and if necessary, create customized board positions, which require a fairly arduous process, but we're willing to do that if someone has a skill or ability that they feel could be helpful to the board or the organization, and they have an idea of what they want to do to help promote, develop, grow, strengthen, stabilize racquetball, including anybody that's served in a leadership capacity before or has expressed interest in taking on a role. We welcome their input and would gladly sit down and work with them to see what their vision is to make racquetball better in our state. So an open process to have a more robust and potentially more diverse board of directors to capture different perspectives than what are currently present. Keep that open. So anybody that's listening to this after the fact is welcome to reach out to any board member expressing their interest with their ideas on how they can see it, reimagine and grow the organization in a way that's positive. We welcome that as your volunteer board. We keep ourselves open to that. So with that, I'll again, if we had an open forum, I'd entertain any conversation, but since there are no attendees, I'll turn it over to Isaiah to bring us to the end of the meeting.
Thank you. There are no major key decisions that were made in the meeting or action items that need to be addressed. I will reach out to the group to schedule our next board meeting in September. Other than that, that's all I got.
So I will task myself, Isaiah, and you can make this part of the minutes. I will notify the USAR of the structure of our board for calendar year or fiscal year September 1, 2025 through August 31 to be those that were read into the election and those that are continuing to serve, including Bill and Phil. So I will formally notify them because that affects how they keep track of safe sport and things of that nature. So I'll take that on. So,
Perfect.
but yeah, I didn't hear any other to-dos that are part of formal decisions. So, hearing no other action items, are you at a point where you want to call the meeting to its conclusion and end the recording?
Yep, we can call the meeting at 7:56 p.m.
Okay, a vote of the board to is necessary to actually execute that. So do we have, let's go around the room. Jeff?
Yeah, I second that.
Okay, so we have a second. So we'll go in reverse order. Micah, do you approve of ending the meeting at this point?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Phil? Isaiah?
Yes.
And Jeff?
Yes.
Okay. So that ends this meeting. Thank you each for your time tonight. And for those that do listen to this at the end, the recording is now ending.